Title: My affair partner left me for his family. Lessons learned from heartbreak. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Lessons from Life channel. I hope you're all doing well and feeling good today. Now, before we dive into the story, I want to challenge you to stick around until the very end. I know you're probably thinking, why should I? Well, because at the end of this video, we're going to break down the real lessons from this emotional journey. We'll unpack the mistakes made, the lessons learned, and how we can all avoid making these same choices in our own lives. Trust me, this isn't a story you want to miss. It's raw, real, and will give you a new perspective on relationships, betrayal, and personal growth. So stay with me until the end. Alright, let's jump into this woman's story. It begins with her reflecting on the aftermath of her affair with someone she had been seeing for over a year and a half. At first, the relationship seemed innocent enough, they were friends. But over time, things evolved into something much more complicated, especially as the pandemic started to strain relationships and emotions. The woman opens up about how she and her affair partner, AP, initially had a simple friendship, which later grew into something more. But like many stories that begin with a friendship, there was already an emotional gap in her own marriage that made her vulnerable. She had been married for a while, but her relationship with her husband had begun to fall apart. Feeling emotionally neglected, she found herself seeking attention and validation from someone else. As we all know, when someone feels unappreciated at home, the temptation to look for affection elsewhere can be strong. She didn't go into much detail about why her marriage was on the rocks, but it's clear that there were unmet needs in her relationship with her husband. This emotional gap led her to seek comfort from someone who was, in the end, just as unavailable as her husband had been. As the pandemic hit and isolated everyone more than ever, her affair partner began pulling away. He started spending more time with his wife and children, leaving her to deal with her own struggles, including filing for divorce. Despite her personal turmoil, she had placed a lot of hope in her affair. She had expected her affair partner to be there for her, to support her through this major life change. He had promised to be there for her, but the reality didn't meet her expectations. When she needed him the most, he wasn't around. In fact, he became more distant, as if the emotional connection they had shared was slowly eroding. She tried to reach out to him, but his response was cold and distant. She felt abandoned, not just by her husband, but now by the person she had hoped would fill the emotional void left by her marriage. What's important to recognize here is that she was asking for something from her affair partner that he simply wasn't able or willing to give. While her emotions were raw, her affair partner was caught in his own tangled web of commitments, balancing his marriage and family life with his extramarital affair. For him, she was never going to be the priority. She was a side piece to his already complicated life. When she reflected on her situation, she finally realized that she deserved more. She had spent so long focusing on the attention and affection from this affair partner that she had lost sight of what she truly needed. Someone who would prioritize her, not just in the heat of an affair, but in a real, loving relationship. At that moment, she made a decision. It was time to let go. She decided to stop letting her affair partner weigh her down. Her husband had already given her the freedom to move on, and now she was ready to embrace that freedom, to take control of her future and move on to a healthier, more fulfilling life. After breaking up with her affair partner, she vented her frustrations on social media. She shared how deeply hurt she felt by the emotional neglect from her affair partner, who had stopped communicating with her and had turned his attention back to his family. In one post, she said that she had tried to share something important with him, but when he cut their conversation short, she felt unimportant and rejected. She even mentioned that she received more empathy from people she wasn't even close to, which made her feel even more betrayed by someone she thought was her closest confidant. One comment on her post stood out to me: "You're the side piece. What did you expect?" While this comment may seem harsh, it holds a powerful truth. When you enter an affair, you are essentially accepting a role where you are always second to someone else's life. You are never the main character in their story, you are only a subplot. She admitted that this realization was painful, but necessary. She was still clinging to the idea that he could somehow be hers, even though he had clearly chosen his wife and family. In the end, she had to face the reality of the situation. Her affair partner had never truly been available to her in the way she needed, and that was something she had ignored for too long. As she continued to vent her frustrations, she didn't just blame her affair partner, she also started reflecting on her own actions. She realized that her affair had been a form of escapism, a way to avoid dealing with the deeper issues in her own life. She had sought validation and comfort from someone who wasn't emotionally available to her, and it had only led to pain and disappointment. She acknowledged that both she and her affair partner had made mistakes. She had betrayed her husband and entered a relationship with someone who was already committed to another woman. Meanwhile, her affair partner had been leading a double life, providing her with just enough attention to keep her hooked, but never enough to build a real, lasting relationship. While she still wasn't sad about the situation, perhaps because she had distanced herself emotionally from it, she began to realize that this affair had taken a toll on her. She had to let go of the fantasy of a perfect life with her affair partner and focus on moving forward. Eventually, she came to terms with her situation. She had to start over, not just from her marriage, but from the emotional mess that had been created by the affair. She decided to take time for herself, focusing on her own healing and personal growth. Therapy became an important part of her journey, as she began to explore the deeper reasons behind her choices and the emotional wounds that had led her to seek validation through an affair. This was a pivotal moment for her. She realized that she couldn't rely on another person to fix her. She had to fix herself first. This was an important lesson for all of us. No one else can heal you, only you have the power to change your own life. 1. Don't ignore the red flags. Affairs are rarely without consequences. Whether you're the person cheating or the one being cheated on, affairs create a complex web of emotions that often end in heartbreak. If you're in a situation where you're not getting the emotional needs met in your primary relationship, seek help or leave before things escalate. 2. You deserve more. If you're in a relationship where you're constantly second-guessing your worth or feeling neglected, you deserve more. Don't settle for being someone's second choice. You are worthy of love and respect from someone who will make you their priority. 3. Healing takes time. Whether you've been in an affair or experienced any form of emotional trauma, healing isn't instantaneous. It takes time to process your feelings, reflect on your actions, and rebuild your sense of self. Don't rush this process. Own your choices. We all make choices, and sometimes those choices come with consequences. Own your actions and take responsibility for them. It's only when we accept responsibility that we can move forward and grow. 5. Look for healthy relationships. After a breakup or a major life change, it's tempting to jump into another relationship quickly. But the healthiest relationships are built on trust, communication, and mutual respect. Don't rush into something new just to fill a void. Take time to heal first. So there you have it, an affair that ended in heartbreak, but ultimately led to a journey of self-reflection and growth. The most important lesson from this story is the importance of owning your choices and learning from them. Every decision we make shapes our future, and sometimes, the hardest lessons are the ones that teach us the most. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this woman's situation? Do you think she made the right decision to move on? Or is there something she could have done differently? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might need these lessons in their life. And as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, remember that life is about learning from every experience and becoming a better version of yourself. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Lessons from Life for more insightful stories and life lessons. And remember, no matter what you're going through, you have the power to change your story. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.